Most motels greet guests with pool hours or breakfast times. But in a quiet corner of Ohio, a night clerk was handed something very different, a typed list of instructions that read more like survival guidelines than hotel policy. Now ask yourself this: what would you do if you were told that ignoring even one rule could cost you the chance to see daylight again? It was supposed to be a routine night shift. Instead, it became a test of obedience, patience, and fear unlike anything most of us could imagine. One man arrived with cash in hand, booked every room in the building, and left behind rules so disturbing they raised a single terrifying question: were they written to protect the guests, or to protect the clerk from the guests? Before we unfold what happened in that motel, let me take a moment to welcome back our loyal viewers. It means a lot to have you here. And if you're new, we'd love to have you join this community. Hit that subscribe button to enjoy our daily dose of real-life inspired stories, and drop a comment below to let us know where in the world you're watching from. We always enjoy seeing how far these stories reach. Because tonight's account is not about superstition or imagination, it's about rules that were meant to be followed, and what unfolded when those rules were tested. The motel sat on the edge of a fading Ohio town, an aging, two-story building with all the rooms tucked inside a single dim corridor. Cell service barely worked out here, the walls carried every creak, and the only constant sound was the uneven hum of the old HVAC. For a clerk working nights, the quiet wasn't peaceful. It was isolating. That night, the responsibility fell on a 21-year-old clerk named Ryan Miller. He wasn't reckless, he was practical, a college dropout trying to make ends meet. His manager's words still echoed from earlier that day: full booking tonight. Every room. Don't be surprised if it gets busy. But busy never came. By 10:30, there were no vans, no families, no group at all. Just one man. He entered without hurry, his footsteps barely registering on the worn carpet. An outdated suit, a wide-brimmed hat pulled low. His face never fully showed, but his presence carried the kind of weight that silences a room. Without a word, he placed a thick stack of bills on the counter, cash for every room in the building. Ryan, already uneasy, asked carefully, "So you're with the group?" The man's lips curled, not quite into a smile. "They'll arrive later," he said evenly. Then, leaning slightly closer, "But before that, you'll need instructions." He slid a folded sheet of paper across the desk, tapped it once with his finger, and walked toward room 105. His pace was steady, but even after he turned the corner, Ryan felt as if the man was still watching. The sheet remained on the counter. It wasn't a reservation form. It wasn't a note for management. It was something else entirely. At first, Ryan slid the paper under a pile of shift logs. But when he turned back moments later, it had risen to the top again, neatly placed as if waiting. With a deep breath, he opened it. Inside was a typed list. Rule 1: if you see anyone standing silently in the hallway, do not acknowledge them. Rule 2: if a crying child appears, do not approach. Turn away and hum quietly until out of sight. Rule 3: do not leave the front desk between 1:30 a.m. and 2 a.m., no matter what you hear. Rule 4 and beyond: if a reflection doesn't match, look away. If a child offers you a drawing, accept it. If you hear whispering, never turn. The language was dry, almost procedural. But it was nothing like ordinary hotel operations. In most workplaces, rules are written to protect staff and guests. Here, every instruction seemed written to test survival. By midnight, the motel was silent. Then it started, footsteps echoing from the far end of the corridor. Slow. Measured. Approaching. Ryan waited, expecting a guest to appear. No one did. The sound simply stopped. When he turned back to the desk, he wasn't alone. A figure stood at the edge of the lobby light. Tall. Thin. Limbs slightly bent, proportions wrong. A low buzzing filled the air, vibrating inside his skull. Ryan scanned the rules until his eyes locked onto one. If a guest stares at you for more than 5 seconds, close your eyes and count to 5. He obeyed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When he opened his eyes, the figure was gone. But the next test followed quickly. From the hall, a child appeared. Hood pulled low, hand extended with a piece of paper. The rules echoed in his mind. When a child offers you a drawing, accept it with a smile. Ryan forced a thank you as he took the sketch. It showed a faceless figure. And when the child lifted its head, the drawing matched perfectly. No eyes. No mouth. Just blank skin. Ryan stumbled back. When he looked again, the child was gone. Only the drawing remained. 2 rules tested. 2 rules obeyed. Whatever force controlled this motel, the instructions were no joke. They were keeping him alive. At 1:30 a.m., Ryan faced the most brutal test yet. The rules were clear: do not leave the front desk between 1:30 and 2 a.m., no matter what you hear. At first, silence. Then, a single scream. Distant, faint. It grew louder. Another voice joined. Then more. Soon the hallways filled with cries, escalating into raw terror. Ryan gripped the counter, his instincts screaming to help. But the rules told him otherwise. The sounds twisted, no longer human, distorted howls pounding against the walls, clawing at his sanity. The clock hands crawled. 1:41, 1:47. 1:52. Finally, at 2 a.m. sharp, the scream stopped. It wasn't bravery that kept him alive. It was compliance. And in that building, compliance was the only protection he had. At 2:17 a.m., Ryan glanced at the lobby mirror. His reflection looked normal, until he saw the child behind him in the glass, smiling far too wide. He remembered the rule: look away. He dropped his eyes instantly and didn't check again. Moments later, whispers began behind him: turn around. But Rule 8 was clear. He didn't move. At 3:40 a.m., the phone rang. Caller ID read, front desk. His own station. When he answered, it was his own voice on the line, whispering Rule 8 back to him: do not turn around. The line went dead. The rules weren't just written. They were enforced. The motel itself demanded obedience. By 5 a.m., the air shifted again. The central hallway was full: men, women, children, standing shoulder to shoulder. Silent. Motionless. All facing the front desk. The air felt heavier. The smell of ozone clung faintly, as if the storm had moved inside. Then the whispers began, layered into one phrase: look at us. Ryan gripped the counter, eyes locked forward. His instinct screamed to acknowledge them. He didn't. Minutes later, the voices stopped. He risked a glance. The hallway was empty once again. The group demanded his attention. He gave them none. And it saved him. Moments before sunrise, the man from room 105 returned. Same suit. Same hat. Same measured steps. He reached up and tapped the lobby clock. The second hand jumped forward by 1 tick, then carried on. One more thing, he said. Don't step outside before sunrise. Some leave, and the parking lot isn't ours anymore. Then he vanished into the hallway. At 6 a.m., daylight seeped through the glass doors. The pressure lifted. The motel felt ordinary again. Ryan gathered his belongings. Before leaving, he glanced at the reservation ledger. Every single room was marked, cleared, in neat handwriting he didn't recognize. He stepped outside. The parking lot looked normal in the morning light. Birds chirped. Mist lifted. But as he started his car and looked back, his chest tightened. In an upstairs window, a figure stood watching. Still. Silent. He blinked. It was gone. That night, Ryan learned the truth. The motel's rules weren't for the guests. They were for survival. If you enjoyed this story, hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support means a lot and truly helps this channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss our daily dose of real-life inspired stories. Thank you for watching.